Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week of Let's Talk. I am your host, author Dree Lett. Thank you for joining me for another fun-filled week where we inform, inspire, and motivate. We are here to get you going in these tough times during this pandemic and beyond. So thank you for joining Let's Talk for another week. Come on in the room and have a seat so we can talk. This is a show that airs every Friday on Facebook and YouTube, as well as on Instagram. As you can see, the information is scrolling at the bottom where you can find all my pages and my information. Make sure you hit like and subscribe and tell a friend. So let's get going. As you guys know, every week I like to address my virtual studio audience, just say hello to everybody, find out where they're checking in from, and give a shout out. So let's see who's joining. Let's talk tonight. All right. I see Tanya, my girl from high school, representing the D, Detroit, Michigan. What's up, girl? Carla, representing Atlanta. Rockin' Richard Houston, absolutely from the D in Michigan as well. Tori, what's up, girl? She's representing the D as well. We used to sing in the choir together at New Bethel Baptist Church, the church where Aretha Franklin, her father's church. So what's up, Tori? Hey, girl. My husband is watching from the man cave. Absolutely. Y'all keep on coming in the room. Mrs. Gant, she is watching. Mommy in love. Absolutely. I believe my mother is watching. Love you, mommy. Love you, love you, love you. Without you, there would be no me, right? Let's see who else. Let me check my other pages here. Yes, you guys come on in the room, have a seat so we can talk. So today is Vaccination Friday. Yes. Even if you guys don't agree with vaccines or the COVID-19 vaccination, or if you're all in, you guys want to stay tuned for my next guest. She is going to break it down, give you the ins and the outs. She is a medical doctor. We have Dr. V. She's known as Dr. Valda Crowder, affectionately known as Dr. V. She's been on various talk shows, and she's here to talk to us about the COVID-19 vaccination. So you guys want to make sure you pull up a seat, get comfy, and listen. It's going to be a really, really good show. So, hot topics. Yes, let's get into hot topics. You know, this past week has been a lot going on, you guys, and one of the most popular things that you probably have heard or may have even seen has been the whole situation with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Oh my goodness. So basically, I got this off the internet. And what it's saying is that, verbatim, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's highly anticipated interview with Oprah Winfrey finally aired. One of the most shocking things discussed during the interview was when Meghan revealed that there were some discussions about how dark her son Archie's skin tone would be before he was born. Wow. Now that's deep. Harry and Meghan decided to keep the identity of the person who discussed the matter under wraps. However, according to this article I got off the internet, Oprah revealed that it wasn't Harry's grandmother, the Queen, nor the grandfather who discussed baby Archer's skin tone. She still doesn't know who, but she knows it wasn't his grandmother or the grandfather. So that's kind of deep. I mean, that just hits my heart that if these allegations are true, that actually happened, that they would discuss the baby's skin tone before he's even born. That's horrific. Racism is alive and well, and it's dead wrong no matter what ethnicity you are, black, white, Indian, Mexican, so forth. It's just dead wrong. And I think that I'm so sorry to hear that happened to her, happened to Prince Harry. And my prayers are going out to her. But I'm going to be real with you guys, my personal opinion about all of this. Again, it's dead wrong. However, if that would have been me, right? If I was a princess or if I was a woman that married a prince, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna sit right there, sit my behind right there in the palace and reap all the benefits. And when they get on my nerves, I'm gonna have them pack my Louis bags, my Gucci bags, whatever bags that I have, and I'm gonna go to the Bahamas. I'm gonna travel, I'm gonna see the world, and then I'm gonna show up for the events that I have to be at and do the wave and just smile at everybody. But for the most part, I'm not giving it up. And I understand, everybody's different. That's just me. She's setting the tone for her son's children down the line. For the first time in forever, we have had, somebody Black in royalty. So this is big. But again, my prayers go out to her. But, maybe she'll reconsider and go back and live in that palace and just shut all the nonsense out and just enjoy it and live it, right? So my prayers and thoughts are with them. I hope they get through it and that things work out for them. But that's just my 2 cents. All right, so moving along, yes. Jackson. This is my girl. I love her. I've loved her since, her first album came out. Yes, I'm dating myself, but I absolutely love her. This is a strong Black woman, in my opinion. She's been through so much, marriages, divorces. She lost her brother, Michael Jackson. She's been through it all. And she's rolled up her sleeves and she dug deep and hung in there. And when life gives you lemons, what do? You make lemonade. So, the iconic, and I got this off the internet as well, the iconic Janet Jackson has a career that spans several decades, and up until now, an in depth look at her life and career has yet to be told. But that's all about to change. It has just been announced that Janet Jackson will get the documentary treatment courtesy of a 2 night event airing across multiple networks. In 2022, Janet Jackson will officially celebrate the 40th anniversary of her debut album, Janet Jackson, which was originally released back in 1982 when she was just 16 years old. To commemorate her legendary and record-breaking career, Lifetime and A&E will both air a special 2 night, 4 hour documentary event that will give fans an unfiltered look at Janet's life that has never been seen before. So I'm super excited. I cannot wait till it comes out. I'm a huge Janet Jackson fan. And, as African American women, I'm sure some of you can attest to this. When life gets hard, yeah, we have our cries, we go through whatever, but guess what? We roll up them sleeves. And like I said, we take them lemons and we make lemonade. So I love her. She's super strong and she will forever be an icon in my eyes. So can't wait to see that. So what do you guys think? You guys tell me what your thoughts on going back to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. What is your thoughts on that? I mean, like, would some of you guys stay up in that palace and be like, oh, well, put your little ear pods in and ignore the craziness, go take your trips, enjoy your millions and the fact that you're a princess? Or would you say, I'm giving it all up? What do you guys think? Come on in and tell me what you think. Yes, I see Sean going back to Janet. She said that's her girl. She loves Janet. Girl, me too. Absolutely. So I love her too. Let's see here. My cousin Diana, hey, cousin from Vegas. She said, but remember, they took away her passport so she couldn't travel. Yeah, that is true. That is definitely true. But I still would have found a way to deal with it. I don't know. I mean, that's so huge to be the first African American princess in a long, long time. Now, we know we had princesses back beyond, before even slavery. But to finally get to that position again, I don't know. I would have found a way to stay in there. I sure would have. Let's see what you guys saying. Oh, Carla said I wouldn't trust the food that's being served to me. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Carla. I think I would have flew my mama in, had somebody that I trust make my food. Absolutely. Tanya said it's all a mess. Oh, I know, isn't it though? Diana said being rich yet miserable is not all it's chalked up to be. Yeah, that's true. I totally understand. But guess what? Now they're actually having to get out here and make things and make money and or maybe get a job, but I don't know. It's all good. It's all good. So with further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest, Dr. V, so she can come on in the room and tell us all about the COVID-19 vaccinations. Let me give a formal introduction. My special guest tonight is Dr. Valda Crowder. For 30 years, Valda Crowder, MD, MBA, affectionately known as Dr. V, has been a board certified emergency medicine physician who has treated patients during 4 pandemics, one mass shooting, and a category 4 hurricane. Her expertise uniquely blends clinical experience with public policy and business acumen. Dr. V has developed policy which became part of the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act and the Affordable Health Care Act. She serves as national chair of the Health Committee for Black Women for President Joe Biden. Everybody, welcome Dr. V to the virtual stage. I'm going to bring her on in.
Hey, how are
Hey,
you?
Dr. V,
How's it
how are you?
going?
It's going good. Welcome back
Good.
to Let's Talk.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So I know you are washing your hands, wearing your mask, and staying 6 feet apart, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. So we are just so excited to hear what you have to share with us. Were you able to locate the share button at the bottom,
No,
Dr.?
so I have mic cam, mic chat, and leave. I don't
Okay.
have screen share. So
Oh
if
my
you want to
goodness.
do the screen share, that would be great, and then we could get started.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
know if it's because I'm on an iPad. If I had thought
Oh,
about it, I would have actually gotten on my actual laptop, but I don't
okay.
think it made a difference.
Okay. So I tell you what, while I bring up those slides, tell me what are you seeing before we get into the slides? What are some of the things that are transpiring that you're seeing out there?
Well, the main thing that is transpiring is people like shocked that they've got COVID. I'm like,
Wow.
it's all over the place. And so, I tell people don't let your guard down now. This is not the time to let your guard down. This is like, don't fumble the ball on the 10th yard line.
Yes.
We're
Exactly.
not in the end zone yet. We are
Right.
not in the end zone. So I don't want people to fumble the ball before we get into the end zone, right?
Yes.
And so, everything in the presentation is really about like, we've got to hunker down. We've made it 12 months. We really only have to make it about 2 more months more and we'll be in the end zone.
Oh gosh, I know. I cannot wait.
60 days. Get your
Woo!
calendar out, start marking it. 60 days. I'm telling you, it's
Oh
going to
my
be
gosh.
a whole new world come June.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I'm so tired of
Yeah.
all this staying in the house. And I mean, I go out, but I mean, going back to life somewhat normal,
Right, right.
definitely,
Well, I'm
definitely.
fully vaccinated, so I got my hair done for the first time. So, we did our
Oh,
rehearsal. I had all the twisties because that was my COVID hairdo, right? So I went back
uh-huh.
and got my hair braided during the whole COVID pandemic. So today I
Oh,
was like, okay, all right. And I'm wearing the mask and the color in the mask and whatnot. And, I was like, I'm really vaccinated. I don't really have to do this. But I did.
that's awesome.
you
That
know
is a good
and
feeling. That
so
is a good
so
feeling.
yeah, no, it is. I'm telling you, when I got fully vaccinated, I tell people I slept like a baby.
Ooh.
The exhaustion and the amount of this has been a very, very stressful time for all of us, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
sometimes you don't realize, how much the day-to-day stress of COVID-19 is until you actually, once you get vaccinated, you're like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I know. I know.
And now I'm calling my friends and I'm trying to figure out who's gotten vaccinated so we can have a vaccinated dinner party with about 5 people. It's all of that.
Oh,
And
wow.
so yeah, it's
Good thing.
really, really important. We're near the end, and let's not fumble the ball on the 10-yard line.
I know
Yeah.
today makes my day that I'm fully vaccinated as well. So I'm
Good.
super excited. I got lucky. There was a cancellation, and somebody gave it to me, weeks ago, and I jumped on it,
Oh
because they
yeah.
don't want to throw them out. They're
I
like,
tell people you better jump on this like a $10 pair of Jimmy Choos, okay?
hey.
Listen, you got a $10 pair of Jimmy Choos or a $10 pair of Tom Fords. You better jump on this like that, right?
Exactly.
That is how much you need to go after your vaccine. All right.
Yes,
And so when people are
absolutely.
like, well, I can't cross state lines. If there was a $10 pair of Jimmy Choos, you cross state lines.
Yep. That is so true. amazing what we'll do to get what we want. Right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
Oh my
right. You
goodness.
gotta have the same desire. You gotta have the same desire for that.
Yes.
You know what I
Oh my
mean?
goodness. So
Yeah.
I got your slides. So I'm going to attempt to share the screen so everybody can
Okay.
see.
All right. Great. And then I'll just tell you when to actually switch them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll be good. All right. And we'll just go through it. I want to give everybody just a background about everything.
Okay.
All
Can
righty.
you see the
There.
screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Can it be
Bigger? Yeah.
no, you got to go to the first slide.
Okay. Is
Yep.
that it?
And then can you go to full screen
Yes, I will do that for you. No problem.
presentation mode? Yep,
Okay.
presentation.
Let's
Right
see.
there. No new I think if you go to new and
There we
presentation.
go.
Yeah,
Right
right
here.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh no, I know. Let me
Um
close this out.
okay,
Let me
what
close
about
that.
over there to the right next to share?
Right here?
Yeah, where it says present. No, not share. No,
Oh
no,
no,
no.
we don't
No,
want to do
cancel that.
that. Okay.
Okay.
All
Where
right,
it says present. Yeah.
right here.
Start presentation.
There
Exactly.
we go.
There we go. All right.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Fantastic.
This is everything you want to know about the COVID-19 vaccine. And as I told people, my name is Dr. V. And she's already given me my introduction, so I don't even have to tell you. But the source documentation for this presentation is at askdrv.us. So I want people, if they want to know where can I go and read what she's talking about, and most of this presentation is on there as well. And then you can follow me on Twitter, which is askdr_v. So let's go on to the next slide.
All right.
So the intention of tonight is to keep everyone informed about COVID-19 science that will help you and your family stay safe and during the pandemic. Go ahead. And the outcome is that you're going to leave this webinar motivated to create an action plan. It is really, really important during a pandemic or any sort of emergency that you have an action plan for yourself and your family. For some people, you're going to create an action plan for a broader community, maybe a union or a church or a homeowners association or a business. Go ahead. All right, let's get started. All right, 527,000 people, 746 people have died since COVID-19. So just so people can get an idea of what that is, go ahead and click through. That's similar to the entire population of Miami and Atlanta or Baltimore being gone in 1 year. And it's also the same number of people who died from World War I and World War II combined. Go ahead. We are at the 1 year anniversary of COVID-19. World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic 1 year ago yesterday. So here's what's happened since then. Globally, we've had 118 million cases and we've had 2.6 million deaths. Now, what's interesting is the United States is only 4% of the population, but we represent 25% of the cases and we represent 25% of the deaths. So we've had 29 million cases and we've had 530,000 people die in 12 months. Nurses are traumatized and tired, and a lot of them are actually quitting. This is unfortunate because we actually need nurses to actually help run our ICUs and regular medical floors. As many of you know, we operate as a team, and nurses are a critical part of the healthcare team. But a lot of them are just exhausted. Next slide. All right. In Idaho, they're burning masks and they're having mass burn the mask rallies. It's way too early for this. It is way, way too early. We are not done with masks yet. In Texas, the governor lifted the mask mandate and allowed businesses to operate at 100% capacity. And what I tell people is just because your governor tells you to do it doesn't mean you should do it. If your governor told you to stop taking your insulin, you wouldn't stop taking your insulin. If your governor told you to stop doing anything else that you were doing for your health, you would not stop doing it. So just because your governor told you to do it doesn't mean you have to stop doing it. You can still actually wear your mask and you can actually still not go to establishments that you think are too crowded indoors. The Texas Attorney General is threatening to sue Austin, Texas, because they wanted to keep their mask mandate. And so this is very interesting because in general, We say we're about local rule, but then when local rule is democratic and they want to actually keep something, I think this is very, very unfortunate. I hope Austin, Texas stands up to this, because I think if a locality decides they want to keep their mask mandate, they should be allowed to. Texas is recovering from the storm, and everything that happened with the storm. If any of you are on this presentation and are in Texas and experience the power outages occur a lot of times with hurricanes, storms, snowstorms. It significantly impacts people that need oxygen, people that need a nebulizer machine, people that need a CPAP machine. It really can be life threatening when the power goes out for some people. One of the main sources of COVID-19 was gyms, right? Gyms, restaurants, and churches. We recently had an outbreak in Chicago and Hawaii associated with fitness centers. So I just remind people again, it's springtime, it's nice. Go out and exercise in the open air. Don't go inside to a gym. Just let the gym go. I want to thank Kroger's, Starbucks, and Target because they said that they're going to still require masks in Texas despite the end of the state mandate. So those three companies, we appreciate you for helping us all stay healthy. Now, I took a picture of this. This is my photo. I went and got my gas at Gulf Oil. Now, in January, when nobody knew about the pandemic, I was actually jumping out of my car and spraying my gas pump, and everybody thought I was crazy. But Gulf Oil actually put this sign up to remind people to actually wear gloves and use paper towel when they pump a gas or any touch points associated with a gas station pump, which is really, really important. So Dr. V just wanted to say, thank you, Gulf Oil, for reminding us how important this is. And we've had a maskless person at Trader Joe's now try to accost a Trader Joe's employee. So when you don't have the state mandate and the things that you need to have in place, then what happens is it winds up falling on the frontline employees to actually enforce these things and to call the police, and leads to confrontation at the store level, which is really what we would prefer to avoid. Obesity is associated with 10 times a higher death rate with COVID-19. And that's for both adults and children. This is really, really important when we talk about sending kids back to school. If your kid is obese, do not send them back to school. Obesity is a significant risk factor for COVID-19. All right, so let's talk in general. COVID-19 is highly contagious. Minimum time of exposure to infect somebody else is 45 seconds. Now that's for the regular COVID. That is not for the mutations. The mutations, minimum time of exposure is 15 to 20 seconds. It's even lower. Percent penetration, about if 100 people are exposed to COVID-19, 60 or 80 of them will get it. So much, much higher than the flu, which is about 30%. Now, COVID-19 is both droplet and airborne. Droplets are larger and they fall about 3 feet from the person. Airborne is smaller and they go out further. So let's just show a picture of actually what that looks like. So assume this gentleman has COVID-19. The red is the droplets. They fall very close to him. The gray is the airborne, and they travel out much further. We use 6 feet as a guideline, but airborne particles can travel more than 6 feet. Now, how far they travel depends upon the temperature and the humidity. So if it's less than 52 degrees, they travel further. If it's above 52 degrees, they don't travel as far. So that's why you see increased infection during the wintertime. Testing. You want to make sure to get a PCR test. That is the gold standard. That is the one that really hurts, and they jam it up your nose and it feels like they're taking some brain tissue and taking it back out. I've had it myself twice. And you go blink, 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 and you're tearing, and it's like, oh my God, that's the best test. It hurts, but it's the best test. The other test where they swab you is the rapid test, and that comes back right away. That has a false negative rate of 30%. Now, I remind people what false negative means. It means that the test tells you that you do not have the disease, and you do 30% of the time. So 30% of the time on a rapid test, it tells you you do not have COVID when you do. So if the test is positive, it's true. If the test is negative, you probably need another one. So somebody wanted to come visit me and they wanted to go get this test. I made them get 4 tests before they came to visit me. Four, four. Where's four? Four, four, four. Right? So I'm just telling you, right? That test, you have to repeat it a lot to make sure that it's actually really true. All right. Now, mask. Now, the mask up in the upper left-hand corner, which is a fabric mask, that's about 20 to 35% effective. The surgical mask in the upper right-hand corner, that's maybe about 35% effective. The mask that you want to get is the KN95 mask, which is down in the lower left-hand corner. That is 80 to 90% effective. So if you hear the sound of my voice today, I'm telling you, upgrade your mask. Now, if you want to have some mask that matches your outfit and looks cute and whatnot, then you put it on top of the KN95 mask, okay? But you have the KN95 mask at the bottom, and then the top mask actually is, whatever you want to match your outfit, right? But the KN95 mask is the mask that you want to have. I just bought a pack of 3 for $6.99 just today. Then the lower right is the Spirion half respirator mask. That is a N100 mask. So the N and the number afterwards talks about the particulate matter that it filters out. So an N95 or a KN95 filters out 95% of the particulate matter when it is fit tested. Most Americans haven't been fit tested. So without being fit tested, it might actually, maybe 80 to 90%. But that half Spirion mask is an N100 mask. So it blocks out 100%. And that's what I use when I go see patients that are COVID positive. All right, next slide. So people say the masks are uncomfortable. So I just want to show people what it looks like when I put somebody on a ventilator. Oh. So when I put somebody on a ventilator, I use this stainless steel instrument that you see there, and I go down the back of their throat, and I lift up their tongue and their jaw, and I actually visualize their vocal cords and actually pass a tube through their vocal cords. So that is actually what it takes to put you on a ventilator, and that is way more uncomfortable than a mask. Now, these are the COVID symptoms. Now, the most common symptom is actually no symptom. So most people are actually, when they have, about 50% of the people who have COVID have no symptoms at all. So if you think you want to stay away from people that are sick and that'll help you not catch COVID, you're wrong. 50% of the people have no symptoms, right? So cluster 1, 2, and 3 are the clusters where you can actually basically manage this at home. It's flu-like symptoms with a fever, flu-like symptoms without a fever. And what a lot of people don't realize is COVID-19 can actually occur like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. No respiratory symptoms at all, right? So those are the symptoms that you actually normally see. Sometimes it's preceded by loss of smell or appetite, but not always. And only about 40% of the people have a fever. So the folks that have to be hospitalized are cluster 4, 5, and 6. And those people can go to the ICU or can die. And that is fatigue, confusion, or a combination of abdominal and respiratory symptoms. So that's what that looks like. COVID toes. I got to talk about COVID toes.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. I got to talk about COVID toes because people call the emergency department. I got my toes. They turned red. I think maybe like they were frostbitten, but it's summertime. So it's a discoloration, reddish blue discoloration. Like maybe like your shoes were too tight or you had frostbitten. Please do not come to the emergency department. You have COVID, stay at home and quarantine. Period.
Mm.
Now, let's talk about the outcomes. People who catch COVID-19 fall into four categories. So, one is you caught COVID, maybe you had symptoms, maybe you didn't have symptoms, and you completely recovered and you never, ever, ever had symptoms again. That's the best case scenario. Now, there are people who catch COVID-19, they have symptoms or they don't have symptoms. Then later on, they have symptoms. So, I'm going to give you an example. When you watch the Florida Gators game and that basketball player dropped on the court, he had COVID-19, he had completely recovered, and then later on he had symptoms. He was a long hauler, so that's what we call them, long haulers. And so later on they have some symptoms. Then you have people who catch COVID, then 5 or 6 months later they catch it again. That's a reinfection, and they may actually catch a different strain. Then you have people who catch COVID-19, they go to the ICU and they actually survive. I've had several where they've actually coded several times and still survived. And those are post ICU syndrome patients. And I want to discuss that. Go ahead to the next slide. 75% of them have cognitive, mental, or physical impairment. Usually it's renal failure requiring dialysis or a transplant. COVID-19 is a multi-system disease. It is not a respiratory disease. So it causes clotting and limb amputations and strokes and scarring to your lungs and decreasing lung capacity. One of the things that you don't hear people talking about is we have done many, many, many lung transplants, bilateral lung transplants on patients who have survived from COVID. This is not a disease to play with. Next slide. Now, this is interesting. So researchers have found higher level of coronavirus in the brain than in the lung, which is why we're seeing the long haulers have problems with attention, focus, balance, all sorts of things like that that are neurologic. Okay, so the concentration of coronavirus in the brain is higher than in the lungs, right? So that's why we're seeing those symptoms last, and that's why we're getting a lot of long haulers. Just wanted to actually go over what should you do if you just found out you're COVID-19 positive. Go ahead and click on through this. You want to quarantine immediately. You want to make sure that you have in a quarantine room a pulse ox. If you could click through one more time. Great. That's the photo of the pulse ox. The top number there, which says 97 SpO2, that's the number you need to monitor. You want that to be 93, 94 or higher. The second number is your heart rate. People get concerned about that. Your heart rate normally shouldn't be over 100, but if you have a fever, it might be 110 and 115. So I wouldn't really be concerned about the second number unless it's over maybe 120 or so. But the top number is the most concerning number, is the pulse ox. Now, the reason why you want to have a pulse ox is because COVID-19, actually, you are short of breath and you don't know you're short of breath. So you feel fine and then you suddenly fall out. So think about like D.L. Hewley. Remember, he was performing and then he suddenly fell out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we call them happy hypoxics because they're happy and they actually really don't know that they're actually short of breath, right? So that's why you have to monitor your pulse ox, because you don't know. So you can't monitor your feelings. You have to monitor those numbers, okay? Zinc and vitamin D3. Everyone should be taking zinc and vitamin D3 during this pandemic because these are the most important vitamins to take that protect you from COVID-19. Zinc and vitamin D3. Run out right now. Go get zinc and vitamin D3. You want to have access to a bathroom that only you use. You want to have a cell phone. And you want to leave, you have family members or friends, they can leave food at a closed door. Open the windows, bring the air in so that, you let the virus out. And you want to upgrade filtration systems like a HEPA filter if you're particularly if you're dealing with a school or a church. All right, so let's talk about treatment plan. So obviously, if you don't have enough oxygen, then we give you oxygen. And we talked about the zinc and the vitamin D3. Now, the next important thing is famotidine. Now, everybody knows what famotidine is, but I'm going to go over it. Then dexamethasone, the antibodies, the monoclonal antibodies that all the that everybody from the Trump administration was getting. I'm going to talk about ECMO. Go ahead, hit the next slide. Famotidine is Pepcid AC. You can go buy this today in the drugstore. You need to have this. Now, people call me and say, why do I need to get Pepcid AC? I don't have a stomach problem. This is not about a stomach problem. Pepcid AC decreases inflammation in your body. COVID-19 is an inflammation problem. It inflames your entire body. This actually decreases inflammation. It's associated with a lower hospital death rate and a lower combined death rate and intubation rate. Dexamethasone is also associated with decreasing inflammation. You can only get this if you're in the hospital. And we give it to people that we think might require oxygenation or ventilation. Remdesivir is an antiviral. Some people give it, some people don't. It's questionable benefit. It might get you off the ventilator a day or two earlier, but it's not something that's going to be a cure. Antibody cocktails. Now, this is actually important. They're made by Regeneron and also a company called Eli Lilly. You are 70.
Uh-oh, I think I lost her, you guys. Yeah, I think I lost her. You guys bear with us. She's probably going to have to call back in. I don't know what happened to her. Oh my goodness, it was getting good too. Let me make sure she dials back in so she can finish, you guys. Bear with us. Oh no. Bear with us, you guys. This is getting good. This is going to definitely make you think. And as she's getting to the vaccination part, um, wow, I'm just floored, especially those COVID toes. Oh my gosh, I never knew about that. I'm texting her now to see if she can dial back in. Maybe the signal dropped. But yeah, those. What do you guys think about those COVID toes? Is that not crazy? Oh my goodness, I never knew that. And then seeing the actual diagram or the picture where they put the thing down your going down your throat. Oh my goodness. I hope everything is okay on her end. Oh no. She's not responding. So let me try her. There she is. Hold on, you guys. I'm going to try and log her back in. Let's see if we can bring her back in. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened either.
Oh my goodness. I can't even see you. I can hear you, but I
You
can't.
can't. Yeah, I know. I tried to actually. Oh, okay. There we
There
go.
we
All
go.
right.
Yay. Okay, so let me go back and
All
continue.
right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Everybody was like, it's getting good.
I know. I know. Okay. Antibodies. So antibodies. They're made by Regeneron is the name of the company. So they're made by Regeneron and Eli Lilly. Okay. And they're monoclonal antibodies. And if you get them within a certain period of time, they decrease the likelihood of you being admitted to the hospital by 70%. So it's really, really important. They're made of people who actually recovered from COVID-19, plus antibodies from a mouse that was engineered to have a human-like immune system that also generates COVID-19 antibodies. And they bind to the main area of the spike protein, which I'll show you later, that helps the virus attach to the human cell. And I'll show that to you. Go ahead. All right, so this just shows it got approved back in November. It's still very hard to find, but go ahead. So ECMO. ECMO is, and you can click on through this, Dre, click. Okay, extracorporeal membrane oxygenation is the O. Go ahead, click one more time. All right. And what that basically means is outside of the body, we're going to oxygenate your blood and send it back in. Okay. So this is not done on anybody that's elderly. This is only for young people that are struggling in the ICU, because this requires like almost like an open heart procedure to cannulate the vessels in the heart and actually oxygenate the blood and put it back. Usually these patients actually are the ones that actually get the double lung transplant after COVID-19. But I wanted to show you a picture of what it looks like. Okay, most important to add to your plan. Where is the infusion center nearest to you? Because you cannot think it's just any hospital. This is what a typical screening tool looks like. So the most important thing is, have you had symptoms that last 10 days or less? If you have had symptoms and you've been sitting at home struggling for 14 days, you do not get antibiotics. Now, at my hospital, that 10 days is 9 days. So I tell people, if you are having symptoms for 5 days, stop it and go get the antibodies. If you're over 65, you automatically qualify for antibodies. If you're less than 65, anybody from 12 years old, because we've had kids die of COVID-19. We have had children die of COVID-19. 12 years old to 64, they actually give you antibodies if your BMI is over 35. Now, let me tell you what a BMI over 35 is. It's called you're just a little extra weight, you have a BMI of 35, okay? If you're 20 to 30 pounds overweight, you have a BMI of 35, trust me. Diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney disease, those are also reasons. Now, when you get immunity from COVID-19, it only lasts for about 5 months, which means you can catch it again. So all those people who are having COVID parties to catch COVID-19 and get immunity, that was actually really kind of silly. Next slide. So both of these people actually caught COVID-19 twice. The woman on the left, she's 102. She lived through the 1918 flu, and she actually beat COVID-19 twice. The kid on the right, who's 18 years old, when he caught COVID-19 twice, he died. So this is nothing to play with. Next slide. All right, let's talk about the vaccines. All right, I want to talk about how they work. Go ahead. Okay, so put your science cap on right now. Here we go. All right, the viral RNA are the red circles inside that are kind of like a semicircle. Then they have a fatty coating on the outside, which has a spike protein. The spike protein connects to the receptor protein, and it clicks, and it opens up the cell. And that's how the virus gets into your cell. Okay, next slide. Then the RNA in your body says, well, we have to make, now that it's in the cell, we have to make more copies of it. So it makes multiple copies of the viral RNA, and it makes multiple copies of the fatty layer and the spike protein and everything. So it copies. Now, what's most important is during that copy process is that's when it can actually perfect itself. And it has, because the virus always wants to get better. And so that's how we get the mutations. The more it copies itself, the more likely you are to get mutations. So it copies itself, and it makes copies of the protein and everything around it. Go ahead. It reformulates itself, and it heads out, and it attacks another cell. So you have 1 trillion cells in your body. So people who actually catch COVID-19, they say, I feel like my whole body is on fire, because your whole body is being infected by this virus that's going around everywhere. Go ahead. So now, Moderna and Pfizer have a messenger RNA approach to their vaccine. So what do? What does that mean? So messenger RNA actually tells your body to actually create just the spike protein, not the virus, just the spike protein. So when you get vaccinated, you produce a spike protein. Your body recognizes that fatty spike protein as foreign and creates antibodies, attacks it, and kills it. So now when you see COVID-19 and it's covered by that spike protein, you recognize it and actually kill it. Johnson & Johnson has what they call a viral vector approach. So what is this? This is when you use a virus, the adenovirus, which is a common cold. You alter it to become harmless, and you combine it with some genetic material for COVID-19. And then it teaches your body again to attack the spike protein. So all of the viruses are actually attacking the spike protein, because that is how it enters into your cells. So these are all of the vaccines that are under consideration. So if you could click through a couple of times for me, 3 times exactly. Yes, exactly. Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson are the ones that are actually have been approved. So Pfizer and Moderna are 2 shots, and Johnson & Johnson is 1 shot. Now, I want to just say something, because people go into the fact that, well, the Johnson & Johnson one is not as effective as the Pfizer and the Moderna. Pfizer and Moderna tested early, and there was no mutations. So if you go back now and actually look at Pfizer and Moderna, they're not as good with those mutations. And both companies are actually working on a booster shot. Now, Johnson & Johnson, I have 72, 66, and 57. That is the United States, 72%, 66% is South America, and 57% is South Africa, right? And these three vaccines, no one died. So when they're talking about efficacy, they're talking about who had any symptoms at all. So Johnson & Johnson, nobody died, nobody was hospitalized. Moderna, nobody died, nobody was hospitalized. Pfizer, I think there was one person that was hospitalized and nobody died, right? So I tell people, get the first vaccine you can get. The Janssen clinical trial, which is going on right now, that is 2 shots of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The Novavax trial is going on right now. Actually, it's going on locally here at Howard University. AstraZeneca has had a lot of problems. I don't think we're going to actually get that one approved. And Merck had a vaccine which didn't cut the mustard. All right. So everybody asked me, what's in the vaccine? Now, y'all don't know what's in your Popeye's chicken, but y'all want to know what's in the vaccine. So I'm going to tell you right now what's in the vaccine. Here is what is in the vaccine. Now, when y'all get Popeye's chicken, tell you what's in that, I want to see the slide for that. But here is what the FDA says is in the vaccine, okay? You can take a screenshot of it, and these are all of the ingredients that the FDA lists as in the vaccine.
Wow.
All right, next slide. Now, I guess some people say, is there ethylene glycol? There was some stuff on Facebook. Is there antifreeze? You know, ethylene glycol is antifreeze. Is there antifreeze in the vaccine? Okay, click on through. The answer is no. Click on through. All right, we just got a little bit off. There's polyethylene glycol, okay? And polyethylene glycol is in lotions, creams, and toothpaste. And so it's used to help the vaccine evade the immune system and stay in circulation longer. All right. Now I get a lot of people ask me, well, can it infect my DNA? My DNA is going to change because I took the vaccine. So I just want to show people the difference between DNA and RNA because it's very, very different. DNA is a double helix, and that is your genes. RNA is a single helix that is actually used to produce protein. It's completely different. Go ahead. Now, what's important about this slide is a lot of stuff about DNA, but I want you to look at what's in the red. DNA can replicate itself. RNA cannot replicate DNA. RNA is made from DNA, but RNA cannot actually make DNA. Now, what's most important is that DNA can be changed and altered by UV light. RNA actually is completely stable to UV light. Now, UV light, where is that? That's the sun or tanning beds, right? Go ahead, next slide. So the COVID-19, your vaccine, go ahead, click on through. So tanning beds and prolonged sun tanning will actually damage your DNA. COVID-19 will not damage your DNA. So if you're concerned about damaging your DNA, I'd say get rid of the tanning bed and stop spending so much time in the sun. All right. Now, some people say this vaccine was developed too soon. 11 months, man, they made this vaccine too soon. In 2002 is actually when we had the SARS vaccine. SARS was an infection that impacted 33 countries and led to 810 deaths. We started developing a vaccine immediately. If you could go ahead to the next slide. I want to show this article on the next slide because this actually was published in 2005. And it talks about SARS-CoV, C-O-V. And this was actually an article that actually talked about the fact that we needed to have a viral, messenger RNA and a viral vector approach to SARS. So what happened is during the Obama administration, we actually developed the SARS vaccine. And then SARS never came to the US. Go ahead to the next slide. But let's talk about what is SARS. SARS is very similar to COVID-19. They're both coronaviruses. They both have spike proteins to enter the cell. They both cause severe respiratory symptoms, and 80% of their DNA is the same. So when we developed the SARS vaccine, all we did was we actually took the SARS vaccine and we altered it for the DNA, the 20% of DNA, and we had the COVID vaccine. So I know, a lot of politicians and people want to take credit for it. This was actually done in 2005, 2004. So just letting you know. If we had been attacked by something else, it would have been a whole different situation. Now let's talk about mutations. We are not monitoring for mutations. So we don't know how much UK or South African variant or any of the other variants are in our population. So one of the things that happened with the $1.9 trillion bill that was just signed by Biden yesterday, actually, is there's millions of dollars in there to do genomic testing. And what will happen when we do that genomic testing is that we'll actually find out how much these variants are actually in our community. So let's talk about the variants. The B117 is a UK variant. That one's covered by basically almost all the vaccines. It's not that big of a deal. There's only a small amount of alteration to the spike protein. The South African variant is the one you need to watch out for. It's got a lot of variations and it's highly, highly contagious and is more dangerous to children. I would not be sending my kids back to school right now, and particularly if they're a little chunky. I wouldn't do it. Or if I had newborns at home, I also would not do it. There's also the Brazilian variant. There's a California variant. And if you go to the next slide, just last week, there was a new New York variant. We have no idea. We are flying blind. We have no idea to what extent these variants are in our communities. So I'm telling everyone, if you want to go and you want to meet somebody outside for dinner on a patio, that's one thing. But to send kids to school or to go to an indoor restaurant, I would not be going to church right now. No, if you're not vaccinated, you shouldn't be doing any of those. I'm vaccinated, got my hair done with a mask, with a KN95 mask today. So you really, really, even being vaccinated, I'm being extremely careful. So you don't want to let your guard down right now. Again, we're in the red zone. We're not in the end zone. Next slide. So again, troubling signs. Pfizer and Moderna shots could be far less effective than against the variant. I'm just showing you the news articles to actually support what I'm saying. So I don't want you to think the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is any less effective than Moderna and Pfizer. Go ahead. All right, so we have distributed 95 million vaccines. About 10% of the US population has had a complete vaccination, and about 20% have had at least one. Go ahead. Interestingly, Merck and Johnson & Johnson, who are actually competitors, have decided to actually come together and actually help with manufacturing. Now, this deal was brokered because the Merck vaccine didn't work. So Merck had extra manufacturing capacity, and the Biden administration brought them in and actually had them broker a deal so we could actually get more vaccine out faster. I believe every adult will very easily get a vaccine by May 1st. I just want you to show, I want to show just a couple of states and what their websites look like. This is what Maryland's website looks like if you want to actually go on and find out where you can get a vaccine and to actually put yourself in queue. Again, you need to go after this like a pair of $10 Jimmy Choos. Okay? Next slide. myturn.ca.gov for California. All right. The other thing about California, which they just started, was if you're willing to volunteer at a vaccine site, you can get the vaccine and skip the line. So go on here, this website, and tell them that you are willing to actually volunteer, and you will get it earlier than everyone else. The White House actually sold millions of doses to pharmacies, retail pharmacies. So let's talk about what this looks like. CVS and Walgreens. This is what their website looks like. Feel free, pick up your phone, take a photo, okay? Put your name on all of these lists. Make sure your name is on. If you have to go to your cousin's house in another state, you want to go to your cousin's house in another state and go get vaccinated, okay? All right. CVS actually expanded to 12 more states. This was as of Tuesday. And they're also using Target and the dressing rooms in Target to actually give people vaccines. These are two websites. If you're like a vaccine stalker and you need some more help, these are the vaccine stalking websites. On my webinar next week, I'm going to interview a vaccine stalker that finally got vaccinated today. She's been stalking for a month. But you can go to vaccinehunter.org. That's a private organization. And they tell you when someone didn't show up for their appointment, or like in Texas, when the electricity went out, there was a lot of vaccines available because they have to be refrigerated. Vaccinefinder.org is supported by the CDC and Boston University. Now, people ask me, should I get vaccinated if I have a weakened immune system? Yes, after consultation with your primary care doctor. Same thing for an autoimmune system, autoimmune condition like lupus or sarcoid or something like that. If you have Guillain-Barré syndrome or Bell's palsy, yes, you should get vaccinated. Pregnant or lactating, it was not actually studied in pregnant or lactating women, but women that are pregnant actually are more likely to actually get a viral infection and not do well. So they have determined that the actual vaccine does not cross over to the baby. So most OBGYNs are actually recommending it, but I tell people consult with your OBGYN and see what he says. I also got asked about G6PD deficiency, and the answer is yes after consultation with your primary care physician. This just shows what happens when you get vaccinated. When you get the first dose, you actually produce no antibodies for 2 weeks. So I don't want anybody to go get the shot and think, oh, I got the shot, I'm good. No, you have no antibodies for 2 weeks. Okay. Then at the end of the first shot, you're at about 60-70%, and you are fully vaccinated 2 weeks after your second shot. Okay. All right. This is a race. We got to get going. In Israel, they've actually vaccinated a lot of their population, and now 97% of the people who actually are dying are people who didn't get vaccinated. So you don't want to be in that crowd. All right. And then I think I have at the end, go ahead, I did that. It's a race. Is there another slide? Oh, yeah. What can you do when you're fully vaccinated? Let's go ahead and click through this. So you're fully vaccinated 2 weeks after your last shot. If you are fully vaccinated, you can go indoors with other fully vaccinated people. So you can have like a fully vaccinated party with like maybe 4 to 6 people, or, a small group of people. Going together with unvaccinated people, they say, well, if they're low risk for disease, but you may not even know somebody's medical history. So I would be careful about that. If you're fully vaccinated and you actually come in contact with COVID-19, you don't need to quarantine unless you actually or test unless you actually get symptoms. Go ahead. If you, what can you not do if you're fully vaccinated? You still need to wear a mask. We still need to be 6 feet away from people, and we still need to avoid medium and large size gatherings. And then we need to follow anything that our employers or the health department actually says, particularly around travel. All righty. So I think that's it. Yeah, we can go to Q&A. All right.
Oh my goodness, that was awesome, Dr.
All
V.
right.
Oh my goodness, you broke that down.
All
Woo,
right.
that
I
was
want to
so
break it
good.
down.
Yes, absolutely. So I have a couple questions that somebody kind of brought to my attention. So I'm just going to ask those of you, and then audience, you guys put in the comments. Let me know what your questions are, and I will
Yeah.
definitely get it
Yeah.
to her. Okay, so here's the $1 million question. Do you foresee any long-term effects from getting the COVID-19 vaccination? Like 5 years down the road, you're going to grow a third ear, nose? I mean, any crazy?
Yeah, so let me just say, most vaccines have more immediate effect than long-term effects. Okay. Medications that we take every day, those are things that will have more long-term effects. So in the study that they actually set up, they've been following people in the Pfizer and Moderna study since last uh, May and June, right? So it's almost been now about 10 months. They're going to follow them for a total of 2 years. But in general, vaccines give more immediate effect, and medications normally give more long-term effect.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. That's good to
Yeah, but
know.
we already have a year's worth of data, and we're good.
Okay, good, good, good,
Yeah.
good. So you had talked about that, with the mutations, they're going to have booster shots. So that's something we're going to have to go back probably and just get
Probably
another
so.
shot. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably so.
Definitely. And this is a question, we have several adult roller skaters that view into the show, and
Okay.
that's a big thing. So somebody asked this question. They wanted to know, and this was submitted to me like a couple days ago when they knew you were coming on. They said,
Okay.
can a skater go back to adult roller skating with a small group of 30 to 50 people in the rink and not get sick? Should they wear a mask when they're skating? Because I guess what they were saying is as you go around and that wind is kind of from the other skaters and people are sweating,
Are
and
they vaccinated or not vaccinated?
more than likely most of them are not.
No, I wouldn't do it. No,
Okay.
no. So I just got vaccinated
Hmm.
fully. I'm more than 2 weeks after my second shot. I think my second shot was maybe in the middle of February. And I went back to indoor tennis, because I try to be Serena most of the time. So I just went back to indoor tennis. I just, I just went back to indoor tennis
Okay.
a week ago, right? So if I was fully vaccinated, then I would go back to roller skating.
Okay.
But without being fully vaccinated, I would not go back to roller skating. Now I would roller skate outside,
Okay. So if
right?
they're fully vaccinated, would you recommend they wear a mask around others that are not vaccinated or?
Yeah. So what happens is if you're fully vaccinated, you still have to wear a mask because there's other people that are
Mhm.
not fully vaccinated, right? So you still have to go ahead and wear a mask. The other thing I would ask a roller skating rink, like, are you guys opening up the windows? Are you opening up the doors? Because that type of aeration makes a difference. Let me tell you something. There was somebody on my webinar, and I was telling him the importance of opening up the doors and the windows. And he actually went apartment hunting with a friend that had not been sick, was fine, right? They both wore a mask, and he opened up the door. He opened up the windows of the car as they were driving around from apartment to apartment. This was on a Saturday. On Monday, she told him she found out that she was COVID positive, or right. And I believe it's because he had on a mask inside the car and had his windows open that he didn't catch COVID. He absolutely otherwise would have caught COVID. We can ask the places that we actually go to and say, y'all open up the doors, or y'all open up the windows? Do you have a HEPA filter? What are you doing? Ask the questions of the businesses, because if you don't have the right answers, if I go to a restaurant and they hand me a menu, I leave. The menu is the dirtiest,
Oh,
nastiest
yeah.
thing at a restaurant. Okay.
Hmm.
If you give me a restaurant, if you give me a menu, you hand me a menu, I'm out. I'm
Yep.
out. Okay. I need to have the QR code or look it up online,
Mhm.
or do whatever, right? Even if I'm sitting outside.
And the condiments, the ketchup that
Oh, I'm not doing any of
oh,
that stuff. No, I'm not doing. No, I'm not. Are you? Well, I'm not. And I'm not. I mean, I'm. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There. Listen. Let me tell you the things that Dr. Fee's not doing. I
okay.
am not flying.
Thank you.
I am not flying nowhere in a cabin with folks, and I don't know everything that's going on. No, I'm not flying.
Mhm.
Let me tell you what else I'm not doing. I'm not getting together for Easter or Mother's Day with any of my family members that haven't been vaccinated, right? My parents have been vaccinated, and even still, will probably go to someplace outdoors. And so I go to outdoor restaurants and I'll do outdoor stuff like that. But that's really about it. The only thing indoor that I do, again, because I'm Serena, I play tennis.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let me just take a look and see what everybody, if they have any questions here.
Okay.
Let's see here. Yeah, President Biden follow the science. Our soror, she said, follow the science. Absolutely. Some women in trial became pregnant and delivered healthy babies. Okay. I saw a question in here. Oh, somebody said, will there ever be a time when we can go without wearing masks? Now that's a good one.
Yeah. So, it depends. So, that's a really good question. So, it depends, right? So, when you're in a global pandemic, the most important word is global.
Mm,
right? So we have to actually help all the other countries actually resolve this as well. And there's a reason why you don't have the New Zealand variant, because New Zealand has done a very good job of stopping this disease. You don't
mm,
have a South Korean variant or a Taiwanese variant because they've done a very good job of stopping this disease. So you have mutations in countries and areas that have had out of control infection.
mm,
Brazil, UK, New York, California, right? So we have to actually, as a world humanity community, actually clamp down on this quickly. That's what you have to do. And you don't clamp down on it quickly, then it kind of like spirals and sputters and continues and changes and it mutates and it goes here and it goes there, and you're
mm,
constantly chasing it. And you spend way, way, way more money chasing it unless you clamp down on it quickly. So if
yes.
we clamp down on it quickly as a world community, we're
Mhm,
going to get somewhere. If we don't, it's going to be really, really difficult.
wow.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Here's another question from my mom. She says, "What about food and serving, or what about food and animal serving that was done in China? Like, have they been able to cut that down?" And because
Food and animal. Wait,
well,
say it again.
well, it originally came from the monkey, correct? Or excuse me, the bat, right? So that place where they had all those wild animals that they were selling, that the outbreak
Okay.
in China, have they cleaned that up? And
Okay. Yeah. All right. So coronavirus, this particular coronavirus did come from a bat. We don't know the actual source. So the World Health Organization actually sent out an investigatory team probably about 4 or 5 months ago, and so we're still waiting on the results.
mm,
People think that it was from that market, but we actually don't have definitive information to know if it was from that market. But any place where you have um, humans and animals interfacing a lot is where you're going to get viruses, right? Because
mm,
animals that are out in the wild, think of, apes, lions, tigers, bats, right? They are exposed to a lot of viruses and they have immunity to those viruses and we don't, right? So any sort of global pandemic is most likely going to come from a virus that is from an animal to human transmission. So this was an animal to human transmission. We don't really know where it came from,
mm. Wow.
but they're still working on that.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, here, let's see. Here's another question. She says, when my mom she opened up the window, she used a leaf blower to push out the air. She said she didn't know what she was doing, but it felt like God was instructing me to do it instead of just sit there in the room. I guess, like you said, filtration.
Yeah,
Key.
filtration. Air filtration is
Mhm,
everything. You can
mhm,
buy an air filtration system. I bought one on Amazon. It goes down to zero point 0.3 microns. Then it is a hospital grade air filtration system.
mm,
I got one on Amazon for about $50. When I went to go get so I decided, let me tell you what I decided to do. I had to figure out what to do with my hair. So I just went back to this. She knows I had braids in my hair up until yesterday, right? Because that was my pandemic hair. So when I actually went to go get my hair braided, what I did was I brought my air filtration system and I sat in there and she couldn't have anybody else in there. It was only me because I was like, if you got somebody else, I'm leaving, right? I dropped off my air filtration system 30 minutes before I got there so they could filter out the room with all the air. And then I came in and got my hair braided so I could have my hair done during the pandemic. And then now that I'm actually vaccinated, I went and got my hair done.
Awesome. I love
Yeah,
it.
no, you gotta have a plan. That's why I think it's really,
Mhm,
really important. You gotta have a plan. You can't take this kind of lackadaisical
mhm.
approach. Some people may not be vaccinated till May or June. What you
Ooh,
can't die between that. You can't die between now and June.
mhm.
We're
I
in the
know.
end zone. We're in the red zone.
We're almost there, right?
We're almost
So,
there.
going back to what you said with filtration, so I want to travel eventually. What are your
Yes.
thoughts about if my husband and I are both vaccinated and we go to a hotel and we take our fog the room out? Are we good then? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So the most dangerous place is not the room. The most
Oh,
dangerous place is the plane. Are you
oh,
flying or driving?
driving. I'm not getting on a
Oh,
plane.
okay. Well, then, yeah. So what I would do when I would travel and I go to a hotel, I open up my hotel room. Okay. So first of all, I open up my hotel room. I sprayed all of the common things that I would normally, all the light switches, if I had a little kitchenette, all the microwave doors and whatnot, the remote controls. I'd
Mm.
open up all the windows, and then
Okay.
I'd leave for 30 minutes and go get a sandwich and come back. And
Ah,
then your hotel is, and I'd have my air filtration system and the windows open for
okay.
30 minutes, and then I would leave and come back, and then you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
then you're
that.
fine.
That's
Yeah. But as long as you're driving,
yes.
don't
Not getting on the
fly.
plane.
Yeah, don't
Not
get on
getting
the
on the
plane.
plane.
Yeah,
No,
you
no,
can't get on a
no,
plane.
no.
That's like,
Oh my
oh
goodness.
my gosh. Canada actually required that you actually had a negative COVID test 72 hours before you fly.
That's
And
smart.
with that, they had 70 flights where they had one or more COVID positive patients on their flights. Even with that,
Wow.
okay.
Imagine
And
America. Oh.
one or more, one
Mm.
or more, right? And they had to do contract tracing and get all of these people actually COVID tested. It was crazy. So
Mm.
no, don't fly.
Oh my
Don't
goodness.
fly.
Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
but if you're gonna fly, Delta does the best. They're still not selling the middle seat. Everybody else is selling the middle seat, and some of the airlines don't even clean the plane before you fly.
Oh
Some of them are
Lord.
nasty.
Oh no, I'm driving.
No.
I gotta go
Yeah,
to
just
Cali.
drive.
I'm driving.
Just don't even worry about it. Just drive. Yeah, just drive. Don't even worry about it.
Absolutely.
Just
Oh
drive.
my goodness. You are amazing. Somebody said we need to have this woman in DC. Yes.
I'm in DC. I'm in DC right now.
But I think he meant like in the White House, being next to Fauci.
Oh, I
You are amazing. Oh my goodness. Look, I'm gonna make you the official doctor of Let's Talk. You are amazing.
absolutely, because we can talk about everything. We can
Yes,
talk about everything, right?
absolutely.
In
Oh
the
my
emergency department, we see everything, and we talk about everything, and we're okay talking
wow.
about everything. So yeah, I tell
Definitely.
people eventually, like, COVID's going to be over, so we're transitioning to other things because people have been ignoring
Hmm.
cancer screening,
Mm.
diabetes screening during this pandemic. So it's a really really big thing. I mean, we're having people now who are being diagnosed with metastatic cancer all over the place because they didn't get their cancer screening for a year, and so it's a really big deal. So yeah, let's get back to talking about health in
Yes.
general and what we're
Yes.
going to do about all of our different healthcare issues and health empowerment.
Yes, definitely. So, Doctor,
Yeah.
tell everybody how they can follow you. Of course, you'll be back here on Let's Talk, but tell them how they can follow you.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter, which is AskDR_V. And then my website is askdrv.us. I do a webinar every Tuesday and Thursday from 8 to 9 about specifically about COVID-19. So you can bring all of your crazy questions. You want to know if your dog can give you COVID, if your dog can get COVID, you bring everything there, right? And there's an invite on that website, which is askdrv.us. I give a similar presentation, but we update it every week. And then we do 30 minutes of Q&A, and people ask their questions, and you can ask anything you want to ask,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah,
Definitely, you guys, that's the thing that we have to do in our community is stay on top of our health, know what's going on, and just
absolutely.
no, definitely. Well, Dr. V, thank you
Absolutely.
so much for coming on Let's Talk. You are
And
welcome to
thank you for
anytime.
inviting me, and thank you for talking about it.
Yes, and I'm so proud of you. You're my soror, so I am super proud of you.
Yeah.
You doing it, girl. You are
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Somebody says,
Uh,
yes, she needs to come back. Yes, you got to come back. We're going to talk.
all right. Sounds
Well, you
good.
stay safe out there, and I'll be
I
talking to
will.
you soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye. That's awesome, you guys. That was that not good? Oh my gosh. I learned so much. I learned so much, especially the COVID tolls, Lord Jesus. Oh, so look, maybe you guys, after you get vaccinated, or if you're around somebody that hasn't had the shot, just say, hey, look, I need you to take your shoes off. Let me see them toes. I'm just teasing. But no, this is very, very serious. So you guys get vaccinated. Don't listen to the rumors out there. You don't want to be laid up in a hospital bed saying, I should have got vaccinated. So, definitely go out there and get it. So thank you, Dr. Valda Crowder, affectionately known as Dr. V. Thank you so much for coming on Let's Talk. That was awesome. So, as we close out the show, you guys, I want to leave you, as I always do, I'm going to leave you with a positive thought. So, basically, this is one I found on the internet as well. It said, think positive thoughts, say nice things, and do good for others. Everything comes back. Again, think positive thoughts, say nice things, do good for others, and everything comes back. Just remember that. And as I tell you every week, do one good thing for one person each day, and you can affect 365 lives. So, you guys, just to stay safe out there, like she said, if the shots aren't available in your state, go where you can get the shot. Stay on top of those websites that she shared. Just definitely get vaccinated. Take care of yourself, wash your hands, wear your mask, and stay 6 feet apart. If no one has told you that they loved you today or this week, just know that I love you. And until we meet again, I'll see you guys next week. And with that, I'm out.